This is a DSi XL, shell serial number WW446017761. I'm just going to go over why I gave it the condition score that I did. So for the physical condition of the shell, which as it sounds is the actual condition of it, I gave it a 2 out of 3. Mainly because the glossy top shell, as I'll kind of probe my light over, a lot of very minor light scratches. Normal use, sliding in and out of pockets, what have you. There are little marks here and there, like there's a... My camera wants to cooperate, there's a mark right there. As I sort of go around the console, there's some edge discoloration. Little marks on the corners, nothing really that crazy. Discoloration around the corners is the biggest one, really. Back is in very good shape. The sticker for the serial number is starting to peel up just a little. I don't think I've really been able to find a way of capturing that. The face shell pieces, this upper shell piece is in very good shape. This one with all the buttons on it, this face shell piece, there's discoloring around the A button and the D pad. My best guess is just the friction of a finger going across it, just sort of sanding down and wearing down that plastic. Normal use, really. But that's pretty much it. Just a lot of light scratching on the glossy shell piece. But that is sort of expected of a glossy shell piece. The next test, the physical condition of the hardware, I gave a 2 out of 3 as well. Very good. Hardware is all the buttons and the screw covers. Now I did note on this screw cover, there's a little hole in it from when I dug it out with a sewing needle when I'm first taking these out. Sometimes they get damaged, other times they come out pretty nicely. A lot of the debris that's on it is, I guess that might be a little bit of glue residue I can try wiping off. I put these screw covers on with a tiny bit of Elmer's glue. I can't exactly rely on the adhesive still being there from the factory when I first take them off. Yeah, that looks spiffy. The buttons themselves, good shape. D-pad, I did notice some scratching on it. Again, normal use. Nothing I could feel with my finger. The shoulder button, the left one specifically, had some marks on it. Right button's in good shape. And the volume buttons I didn't have a problem with. So the next test, the physical condition of the screens, which I gave a 0 out of 3. Fair. Now, it's going to be a little hard to sort of show all of this, but both screens have light scratching. The top screen lens is new, but just because it's new doesn't mean it's in great shape. A lot of the third-party lenses that I get often have quirks to them, I'd call them. The bottom screen does have a lot of light scratching on it. I did put a screen protector on it, and it's masking a lot of those light scratches. I did also note that there's sort of some vertical smudging on the top screen. It's kind of hard to, I have to get it kind of at a perfect angle for them to even show up, so I call them minor because they're very, it can be kind of hard to see. You have to kind of flash them in a certain light. None of that you can see when the console is on. However, there is a problem with the bottom screen, which is why I gave it a fail. Usually I'm able to catch this in my testing, but this one was just able to sneak by. So let me grab my microscope and sort of zoom in on it. So there is a little series of scratches. I think those are it right here. To the best of my knowledge, this is on the digitizer itself and not the screen protector. But when I turn the console on, you'll see that those pixels are now... Where is my little plastic toy tool? There we go. That those pixels are a little distorted. Like once I actually go to the menu, you can kind of see them. It's really hard to make out. What I see when I'm looking into it, like if I have it on a white screen, I will see this pixel specifically. The red channel is blocked off. And that's just due to that scratch distorting that pixel a little. There are little marks like right there and right there. Those are a lot harder to make out. It's mainly this one. So because of that, usually in my testing, I try to catch this and I would be swapping out the digitizer, but since I didn't catch this until the very end, oh. This pixel right here, that was a piece of dust, and now I feel like a fool. But I do know what I'm talking about, I swear. So it was this pixel, like these 2 pixels that are just very mildly covered up by damage. There are some other marks that are covering the pixels. They are sort of distorting the color that's coming from them. But it's mainly this one that I can see. Now, what does that look like in reality? Like, if you looked very closely on a white screen, you can see sort of that little pixel, like, glistening a pink color. Like, really, you have to look for it. And maybe if you're sensitive to it, you would see it. Or actually, I think it's maybe that one. You know what, maybe I wasn't really prepared to show this off, I guess. It's one of these that are fairly prominent. It might be this one because it's covering in the red channel, the red subpixel. But you kind of get what I mean. There's a few of them that are distorted because of that, and that's just due to this scratch. And fortunately, I didn't catch it, so what I'm trying to do now is seeing if that's a real big deal for the market. I'm trying to be as transparent as I can with that this touchscreen is OEM and it works perfectly fine otherwise. It's just that that scratch is just creating a little bit of distortion on a couple of these pixels. Again, it's prominently, it's one of these that is very prominently like pink. And I'm having to use a microscope to kind of show it off, so interpret that what you will. I would say it would be very hard to make out if you were just playing normal content. But again, I failed it. Well, I didn't fail it. I gave it the lowest grade I could, which is a fair because of that. And depending on what the market is like, if somebody looks at this console and says maybe they just don't care that much about that and they're just happy to have a console, then power to them. But if it is becoming a problem and the console doesn't sell because of that, I'll swap out the digitizer. Anyway, next is the physical or the screen condition, which I gave a 1 out of 3. Now, also another thing to kind of, also another hard thing to show off. The first thing I noticed when I turned on this console, you can very mildly see it in my camera. The top screen is very slightly more red. Like, very slightly. Like, it's a little hard to sort of convey. But I can only really make that out because I've looked at so many of these screens. And really, the biggest detractor on that score is I do detect some yellowing on the corners of this display as well. But other than that, the 2 displays work perfectly fine otherwise. And they look pretty good. It's just that when I'm trying to match these screens, I get as close as I can, and in this case, this one's just very slightly more red. I can understand some people being a little sensitive to that, so again, it's just one of those things. Is that big of a deal? When it comes to those very minor variations in screen color, as long as I'm close, I usually don't notice it, even the minor yellowing. If I'm playing a game and not just sitting on a white screen, it won't bother me. I do kind of notice that speck there as well. Huh. Anyway, that is why I gave it the condition score that I did.